Good morning. I'm meteorologist Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. This is 8 o'clock in the morning update on Friday, August 20th, 2021, with the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, or the SICE, for the Fleet Response Working Group. Looks like we have an increasing threat in Tropical Storm Henri. Models are coming together, and the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center now has Henri making landfall in New England on Sunday into Monday. And it also slows down at that period of time. So we have increasing threats going on for New England, and everyone who's responsible for responding to power outages, mutual assistance, emergency management should really keep their eyes peeled, right on, focused right on Henri. So let me get to it and show you what's going on. This is the GOES satellite loop from this morning. You can see the sunrise coming up. Whenever the sun comes up and we have access to the visible satellite imagery, we get a lot more detail in the clouds, which is always nice to have. And it looks like Henri is getting a little bit better outflow around it. It has 65-mile-per-hour winds currently, and it is forecast to intensify. Just how rapidly it intensifies is the question as it passes by South Carolina and North Carolina. Needless to say, the waves are going to be churned up all along the East Coast. Rip currents are going to be prevalent, and I'm sure that those red flag warnings are going to be up all along the beaches of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware, and on up into New York and into New England. So let me show you GeoCollaborate and what it looks like. First of all, you can see the outflow here. This is cirrus outflow, and it's looking better around more quadrants of the storm. So that means that it's starting to get a little bit more organized, and I wouldn't be surprised to see in the next 6 hours, 8 hours for this to become Hurricane Henri. Of course, we'll see, keep updated from the National Hurricane Center official updates. So let's go over to GeoCollaborate, and I'll show you what it looks like here. This is the 5 a.m. advisory, which is the official forecast. The Hurricane Center will update it once again at 11 a.m. This updates automatically in GeoCollaborate. However, you can see it's starting to make its turn. What has also changed is this, a bend towards the west more consistently, where then the storm just makes its way along the coastline as a tropical depression and then a post-tropical storm. So it looks like it's going to weaken rapidly from a technical standpoint. It doesn't really mean that the impacts are going to lessen, particularly from the rainfall that's going to be expected in this area. So as Henri increases in intensity, it looks like it's expected to become a hurricane by 2 o'clock sometime Saturday morning or early on the day Saturday. That could happen sooner. The Hurricane Hunter aircraft are flying through the storm right now, and it does have a little bit better organization to it on satellite imagery. But what it looks like is that it is going to threaten the New England coastline. Let me zoom in here a little bit on GeoCollaborate, because we do have watches and advisories that have been issued by the National Hurricane Center. So we have hurricane watches in this purple here. You can see that from Connecticut, parts of Connecticut into Rhode Island and eastern Massachusetts, including Cape Cod. You can see all those advisories in the crawl above me, and also storm surge numbers below me in the bottom crawl. So you can pay attention to that as well. We'll keep that updating throughout the course of the storm as we do our updates here. And we also have tropical storm watches in effect in these areas here. So for New York, New York City, Long Island Sound, in the western part of Long Island Sound, there are tropical storm watches. And there's also, even sticking out from New Jersey and Delaware, there are special marine warnings not associated with a tropical storm Henri. This is associated with localized storms in that area. However, as the storm makes its way up the coast, depending on how close it gets, it's really going to generate a lot of swells and a lot of surf there along the coastline. So this is what's going on with Henri. There are hurricane watches in effect now. This could be a major impact to coastal New England and interior New England with rainfall. We've already had the remnants of Fred move through, so the soil is saturated. Rainfall rates could exceed 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour as Henri approaches the coastline and then starts to collapse as it makes its way inland. This track obviously is subject to change. That's why we have the cone of uncertainty here. This cone of uncertainty does mean that the storm could move on the western edge of the cone. This is the center of the storm now. The damage area could be wider than the cone itself. However, it could move on this side of the cone, which means impacts to New Jersey, or it could move on this side of the cone, which means minimal impacts, maybe just to the Cape. So if you have plans right now and you're in New England and you have a boat, determine whether you're going to take it out of the water or you're going to find a safe hurricane hole to put it into, or take it elsewhere out of the danger zone. That's going to be a bigger feat than the other options. But anybody in this area needs to pay attention and start planning for hurricane force winds, tidal surges, storm surges, anywhere between 1 and 4 feet, depending on the crawl right below me, and an extended period of strong winds. That, combined with heavy rainfall, anywhere from 6 to perhaps 8 inches of rain, will cause flash flooding. There's no question about that, because the soil is already saturated. Connecticut, parts of Hartford, you've had already 5 to 6 inches of rain just yesterday with major flooding. So we'll be watching it closely. We'll be updating this a little bit more frequently now that we have watches in effect. You can access this video too on the Fleet Response Working Group dashboard, and we'll keep you posted. Again, I'm meteorologist Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. Next update will be later this afternoon, around 5 o'clock, when the Hurricane Center issues their update. And we'll continue to update the dashboard constantly because much of that updates automatically. Thanks for watching. Keep you posted and start making your plans if you're up in New England.